This video here, first minute or so is me talking like this, but then we're getting into the phone call. One owner car guy, oneownercarguy.com, and it's an absolutely beautiful day here in Montana. The mountains, with that clouds coming down. Oh man. You'd never think there was a coronavirus lurking. But there is. So we're doing what we're doing, and everybody's acting like they're acting, and we all ain't talking to each other up close. And what they talk about mostly in this phone call is expanding testing and getting, there might be less cases just because we're not testing enough people. And then another lady had a question about eating fruits and vegetables. Is it safe to eat fruits and vegetables that are out in the open in the grocery store, and it might get people touching them and putting them back or coughing on them or something else? There was a question of how schools are going to operate after this what the economic effect is going to do to schools and Christian private schools also. And that gets back into the CARES Act and stuff for nonprofits and for different people that helps them get back into this game of life. Can pets spread it? That's the questions in this one. I hope you enjoy. There's another one coming up. I got 3 more I'm putting up, I think. The loan for a business or a nonprofit is a SBA 7A. That's the name of the loan. So I figured you guys might want to know that. This information is cool. I like the congressman. Man, that guy's cool. And he has great answers. He has a great way of talking to people, making you feel comfortable. So, that's that. Thanks for watching. Here we go.
Our next question comes from Rita in Columbia Falls. Go ahead, Rita.
Yes, I was calling concerning how safe is it to eat fresh produce that you buy at the supermarket that is not wrapped, such as lettuce, apples that may have been touched by others, or is there some sort of preparation that we should use before we eat it?
Okay, good question. Doctor?
I would say, Rita, that as far as we know right now, we have not seen the virus being transmitted on food necessarily. So I would say just go ahead and use the usual precautions that you would to wash your fruits and vegetables. They could be as likely to have something else bad like E. coli or something like that. So I think just using the usual good food cleansing processes should not put you at any higher risk for getting COVID-19 from food.
Okay, thank you. Again, you're on a live statewide town hall with Dr. Heidi Duncan from the medical director for the Billings Clinic, and myself, Greg Gianforte, your representative in Congress. We want to take as many questions as we can today. If you have a question for the doctor or for myself, please press *3 on your phone. And this next question was submitted online from Chris. Any update on increasing the availability of COVID-19 tests? We're expanding criteria of who is eligible to be tested. And let me address this first from a funding perspective. Congress did at the beginning of March passed an $8 billion package, which was primarily focused at getting resources into research for new vaccines and also to expand the availability of testing. We saw President Trump in the Rose Garden a couple of weeks ago with leaders from the private sector, Roche, Walgreens, Walmart, CVS. He has mobilized and partnered with the private sector to get more tests. It's taking a little while to ramp that up, but they are expanding. In fact, there was a comment made that we've done more testing here in the last 8 days than had been done in Korea in 8 weeks. So they are coming along. This bill that's on the floor today includes $340 billion with a B in funding for this frontline fight. There's 80% more funding for state and local governments, $100 billion for hospitals, $16 billion for personal protective equipment, also money for the Veterans Affairs, and $11 billion for vaccines, therapeutics, diagnostics, including the tests. So Congress is taking the necessary steps to get this funding. Dr. Duncan, is there any comment you want to add about the availability of tests in your local market there in Yellowstone County?
No, I don't have anything else to add except to say thank you for I think the efforts have to happen again at the federal level, and what you all are doing in Congress will help the most, because that again is our biggest frustration too, is the getting the test kits, being able to test people, being able to broaden a little bit more who can get tested, because I think in a time of uncertainty, it's really nice to know if you have it or not, but we're limited in our ability to do the testing right now and have to do these triage protocols. So we can just hope that more come and keep our fingers crossed, and thank you for your work.
Yep. So our next question comes from Pat in Hamilton. Go ahead, Pat.
Yes, Greg, there's a lot of issues around right now about how the schools are going to operate. Our Hamilton Christian Academy is a private school. It doesn't have the necessary funds to continue to go if the students aren't coming to class, and the requirements, demands of the teachers are very high to provide homeschooling efforts. We're wondering about the economic impact of the schooling system and how it's going to be affected and how that trickle-down is going to happen as far as funding, if it will reach that level. For these programs that are needed by these students.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. And I have good news. This package that's on the floor today, this CARES Act, includes funding for small businesses. That includes nonprofits. So what I assume your local school there is a 501c3 nonprofit. What you ought to do is call your local banker. What you want to ask about is an SBA 7A loan. And I know you're not excited about taking on debt. However, if you get one of these loans and you use the proceeds to pay salaries of your teachers, you don't have to pay it back. It's a grant. Secretary Mnuchin shared with us by the end of next week, he expects a one-page loan application to be available from your local bank and credit unions. And you ought to be able to do this over the phone. Again, this is a $350 billion loan program. It's an SBA program, but you don't have to go through the SBA to do it. We knew that would be a bottleneck, so we've empowered every FDIC insured bank or credit union to administer these loans. Again, if you use the proceeds of the loan to pay rent, to pay your mortgage, to pay payroll, to pay utilities, the repayment is forgiven. It's a grant. So I would encourage your local school, any small business in the state, or any nonprofit in the state who has suffered from this shutdown, they should inquire about an SBA 7A loan from their local banker or credit union, and that'll help you get back on your feet. And now we'll go, again, *3 if you have a question, and we'll go now to Jenna in Bozeman. Go ahead, Jenna.
I am handicapped. I am on oxygen 24/7. If you know what that's like carrying an oxygen tank with you everywhere you go, it's miserable because they're heavy. I have tried to get this little oxygen tank thing that brings the air from outside in, and people where I get my oxygen, they tried it, but Medicare won't let me have it. And I don't understand why, because I do have a brain damage. I found out yesterday from my heart doctor that I have a leaking valve in my heart. I want to know why I can't get a little bit of help. Where is my
Bernadine, I'm sorry for your situation. What we'll do is we'll follow up with you. I have a gal in our Helena office that helps seniors with getting Medicare benefits. We'll need to get a few more details from you. Her name is Hannah, and if it's all right with you, I'll have her reach out to you, Bernadine, and if there's something we can do to get you the services you need, we'd be happy to do that. Again, *3 if you have a question, and right now we'll go to Richard in Great Falls. Go ahead, Richard. You're on the line with us.
Yes, Greg. Thank you for this opportunity. Appreciate it. I'm 72 years old. I'm a healthy individual, and I live in a rural area outside of Great Falls. The covenants do not allow fences, and we have children intermingling with dogs. All of us have dogs out here, and everybody gets along with everybody. My question involves the animals contracting or having the virus on their hides, so to speak, and then coming home and transferring it to me or elderly people. Is there any chance of animal to human transfer?
That's a good question. As everyone's aware, I'm joined on the call by Dr. Heidi Duncan, the medical director at the Billings Clinic. Dr. Duncan, what's your advice to Richard at Great Falls?
That's a great question, Richard. I think there was some concern a couple weeks ago about the potential for a dog being able to transmit the virus to somebody or carry it. And from what I've seen, I'm certainly not the public health expert, from what I've seen in my reading, that has been thought to not be a likely source of transmission. Your question about could somebody who had the virus and touch a dog, could the dog bring it in on their fur, is a good one. From what I understand, that's less likely, and certainly it doesn't seem that animals are carrying the virus in their respiratory systems and transmitting it to humans. So from that standpoint, I don't think we need to worry. I don't know if you can spray your dog down with bleach wash, but it probably isn't a good idea.
Okay, thank you. The next question is Donna in Victor. Go ahead, Donna. You're on the line with us.
Good morning. I have
Hi, Donna.
a friend who is a dog trainer, and it's her only source of income right now, and she teaches agility classes for dogs. And she has shut her, as of this morning, she called and canceled all of her classes, but she never has more than 5 or 6 disciplines in each class, and I'm wondering if it's necessary for her to close her agility courses.
Yeah, so with the governor's order last night, it's not advisable. I would also say, though, that with her canceling her classes, this CARES Act that we are passing through the House today would make her eligible for unemployment benefits. So we want to keep food on the table for Montana families and make sure businesses can open back up when this virus passes, and we will get through this together. So I would encourage you to speak with your friend about considering applying for unemployment benefits. Normally she wouldn't qualify as a sole proprietor, but the definition of unemployment has been expanded for this crisis period to make sure people can get back on their feet. So that should be a safety net for her as she stays safe and stays healthy.
Well, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to put more of them up quickly to where everybody can watch. And thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, comment. We'll talk to you soon with like regular videos like I do, but there's a few of these coming out right now.